because you were all in Lady Straub's study in her manor.
All right.
You were there to sort of not only retrieve the sketch, one of the private sketches of Jessa that she was going to provide you to act as a kind of reference so that you could easily spot her on the street if need be, but also to take a look at the recent burglary, the safe that had been cracked, that had been hidden behind her bookcase, one of her bookcases in her study. You used poison, detect poison and disease. You definitely earmarked that Lady Straub was suffering from some kind of wasting illness, but it was not familiar to you, at least not in terms of... It wasn't a disease that you had encountered in the old country. This is something new. Whether it is a new strain of something that had come over from the old country and gotten sort of mutated over the last 10, 15, 30, who knows? Or if it's just something new and maybe endemic to the Ualtica itself.
Did it seem like some sort of anemia?
You asked that last time.
Did
I said, not really.
Okay.
Her complexion is growing wan. She's becoming thin. It's clearly a wasting away kind of disease, but there's nothing to indicate any of that has to do with, iron deficiency or blood.
Quantities of her blood being drawn out of...
Yes. Now, you remember there was a check to see if she had marks on the neck, and
there were no marks on the neck?
Yeah.
did not see any.
But
Did not see
the
it.
marks don't
Did
have
we?
to be on the neck.
They don't have to be on the neck.
Yeah.
It's just
Just
the
old,
classic.
old
one.
it really legs, all
You
just
could
like
just
bite marks.
a-
Yeah.
When two grown-up ladies really like each other.
Exactly.
There's two fang marks on the foot, on the top of the
illness,
foot.
which they're carriers
Still make me throw up, please.
of, like a tick.
It's Lyme disease.
It's Lyme disease. Great. Yeah, they didn't have Lyme disease in the old country.
Vampire Lyme disease.
That's sexy.
You get it from vampires.
What?
Lyme disease, you get it from vampires.
Lyme disease.
I mean, ticks are kind of like vampires, right?
In a lot of ways.
I mean, honestly, yeah.
Grade D vampire. Way down the line.
Definitely.
Do we see a bullseye
bats
on
at,
her
like,
body?
No.
Ringworm.
Happy and quiet.
Is that ringworm?
So,
I thought there was also
a lot of you are...
No.
The last time that we broke, you were
There's
still inside
tick from the
Lady
deer.
Straub's study. If I remember correctly, Sandy, you'd gone down outside to examine the sort of outer front wall below where the single window of the study was. You located some indentations on the shrubbery at the bottom beneath the window, but you couldn't tell. It looked simply like digits had made it. Whether that was fingers or toes or human or otherwise was not immediately discernible.
And that was in the dirt, in the bushes, right?
That was in the bushes itself, like that were the actual material of the bushes beneath the the window.
There are no marks on the wall.
No.
Or anything.
Yeah. And the study itself looked as if it had been sort of minorly tidied recently, but that's probably overzealousness on the part of the wait staff, the servants at the manor. So you hadn't actually taken a look at the safe yet.
And I'm heading back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll check it out. I'll ask Miss Straub. Milady, would you mind showing me the vault safe if it's closed?
Oh, she's already removed some of the books from the bottom portion of one of the shelves, and you can see the door to the safe is already sort of slightly ajar. It's ready for you to take a look at.
She
gestures in that direction.
Yeah. I'll get out my gentle tools, open it, and inspect it.
Okay, so you open the door of the safe. You can tell at a glance it was pretty easy to determine this, but now that you're in there with your tools, you can tell that this cracking was done manually. There was no mundane means or like sort of technical means, as you can see, of this safe being opened other than...
It's a brute force.
Well,
Knowing
not brute
the
force necessarily,
combination.
but somebody was
Not like
doing the old-fashioned From to your eyes, it seems like somebody either knew the combination or somehow figured it out through the dial and then simply opened the safe and took what was
It's not
in
like
there.
it was drill.
Yeah, there's no
force.
sort of physical damage to the safe.
I will pull out my camera and start photographing.
Inside job.
What is
Prob-
it
Could
tidy
be.
in the room and the safe itself?
or
Just
mind
kind of looking
reader.
around. Can I just do a perception check to see if anything like
The room is
looks off?
already pretty. I mean, the room is already befitting
It's definitely beholder.
a sort of
Not
a well-to-do lady's manner study. So it's not like they're
Read the door.
like, discarded
Okay,
cheeseburger
then I'll
or
just
something.
kind
You know what
of.
I mean? But if you want to do a perception check, that's fine.
I do, and I want to just kind of photograph the room so I remember what exactly
Sure, yeah.
we're working with here. I rolled. That's okay. This one's done for tonight.
The die.
That's 6.
You shall be melted.
So it's like a Kodak.
You
like
you intend to take some photographs, but you find that your camera itself is the fantasy equivalent of the f-stop is off, so you have to adjust that and make sure that the lens is clear and everything. So you're not getting as good photographs as
Too
you would
bright.
like. Yeah, the lighting in here is just all off.
fucked up.
Yeah.
I'm going to look around and just see what kind of books I see here. Mostly, I'm specifically hoping to find something very interesting having to do with history. However,
Okay.
I mostly just want to see what she's into.
Okay. Give me an investigation then. I think it would be appropriate.
All right.
Yeah, can I roll like perception or investigation to pretty much look around the safe and maybe tracks
damn it.
to the window?
9.
Sure. Yeah,
Nine
please
suspects.
do it. Yeah.
9.
9.
See?
9.
I don't understand.
There is a
She's saying
whole,
no.
like as I said, there's one wall in this study that is
Something-
floor to ceiling
is
bookcases with all manner of books that are from older
Don't worry,
volumes
guys,
to
I'll
newly
find
printed
it.
stuff. A lot of sort of collectible folios and things like that. It looks like the majority of the work here is of a literary, artistic, or political bent. Not something so. Most of these books are only related to history in so much as in a kind of a sort of tangential way.
Okay.
There's nothing particularly about, say, the history of the old country or the beginnings of La Marasma or anything like that. It's mostly about these art movements from the old country that and so history is sort of a secondary concern for
Okay.
these books.
Sure. All right.
And what you get?
No.
You got to know. Okay.
Hard no.
We're rolling nose over on the side of the table.
Yeah, apparently you're
I
going
was-
on this
Did,
side
did I
too.
just roll for fun, or am I actually invested?
you did roll for fun.
What's
Because I rolled a 21,
Actually-
natural 20.
what's everyone's passive perception?
14.
14.
Way
11,
fucking better than I
14.
rolled.
Dang.
Passive perception. I forgot how to get that.
That's 10 plus
plus.
your perception modifier. So what that is like it's 10 plus your wisdom modifier, and if you're proficient in perception, then you would add your bonus to that.
Okay, so 14.
14.
3 14s.
Got some sharp eyes.
You got 14.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So, quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
Since I've got a mother who's a police chief,
Mm-hmm.
what's the current state of forensic science in the world?
Pretty bad.
About the same as it was in our modern day 1890s. So it is conceivable that you could, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Trey, but you can dust for fingerprints. I believe that is.
Dusting for
Okay.
fingerprints was really brand new at the end of the
Yeah.
19th century.
So the database of fingerprints
Is
is
pretty
basically
much
non-existent.
Yeah,
Now you could very easily dust and say, fingerprints.
we've got something.
Yeah,
and
and
maybe keep them in safe. you find the same set elsewhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would be one more tool that you could put into your sort of evidence locker, right? And ballistics, accordingly, because firearms have come a long way, there is an understanding there about angle of deflection and like breaking apart of shells and like fracture patterns and things like that. So
The physics.
the ballistics side has matured quite a lot, but actual sort of other forensics work.
Evidence handling.
Yeah, evidence handling. It's not. It's
was
not
bad
there.
in
It's
the
not
90s.
systematized.
How do you think OJ got away? only until
So,
OJ did we get evidence
passive perception
handling
was
really
14 for you, and you.
14.
12 for me.
11 for
11.
14.
Yeah.
It's the
14. Oh, so the
three
two
of
of you.
us.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are you asking for passive perception?
Passive perception.
Yeah, 14.
14. Okay.
So the three of us have 14.
So those of you with a passive perception of 14, now that you're in the room, you've spent time, you've been moving around, you've tracked over the carpet, not stained it, obviously. But you've been moving around the room and sort of disturbing the natural state of the room.
Peace.
There's an underlying scent that is peculiar, especially given a well-to-do lady's study. It's something slightly burnt, kind of acrid.
Just take the biggest whiff.
Okay, so you're just audibly, just nostrils flaring. Just, okay,
As a half orc can do.
of course. Yeah.
What is happening?
Do you smell that?
Just like 30 seconds.
What would we roll
Is
to
it
try
some-
to pinpoint that?
Yeah, I was going to say, is it something I can follow?
Constitution?
No, that would be another.
Constitution.
That would be a perception check. I think would be
prefer
appropriate for that.
I mean, there's no related skill, so it's +3 versus +2 or +4.
Hey, I think it's like
The dice
special.
say no?
Just throw that
It's
one
like
away.
the third.
This is a different one.
17.
Yeah.
Just go through all of your dice. Or just
Just a minute. Is that right? Yeah. That's right.
17. Lance, what'd you get?
11.
11. Cool.
Cool.
Trey.
Yep, it's cool.
You recognize this material, this scent to you.
Mhm.
And it's in kind of an offhand way. You've never dealt with it before, but you've been around it.
Okay.
Because you frequent Hunbrook, the district of Hunbrook, which is where the sort of the artisans and the academics do their work and their development, their sort of research and development as well. It's some kind of arcane powder.
Oh, okay. It's like a material component or an alchemical thing.
Exactly. Now, you smelled that in people's workshops and laboratories before, but have never pinpointed which. Is it that peculiar, like, turquoise salt over there, or is
Right.
that
It's just something I smell
fluorescent thing
alchemists
there?
doing.
Yes.
Okay. Is it stronger in any one part of the room than in another?
You notice that it's stronger near the safe.
Yep.
Still can't
Well,
smell
can I
anything.
get down and like just put my face right in it and see if I can
Inside the
discern it?
safe?
Well, I'm
Just in that general area?
examine closely the safe.
Sure, yeah. You're picking up, you're following,
Oh, excuse yourself.
you're following your nose wherever it goes. And sure enough, there is, the scent is, it's not a strong scent.
Mm-hmm.
It's an undertone in the room that only now that you've been in here for a few minutes have now starting to become aware of. It's definitely coming from inside the safe.
I do stick my head inside the safe. Why not?
Okay. So inside you see that it's a barren safe. It looks like everything was cleaned out
Okay.
in here. But sure enough, that scent is coming from in here, somewhere near the bottom, the floor of the safe, essentially.
Do I have a white piece of cloth, or does anyone have?
It's conceivable that you got something.
Someone got a white piece of
handkerchief
cloth?
or something.
All right. I swab out the inside of the safe and see if there's any sort of residue that is unexpected.
Okay, so you are taking your cloth and rubbing along the floor of the safe.
Was your white glove when you did it?
You remove it and you see that the floor hasn't changed in any noticeable way, but the cloth now smells very distinctly of that that arcane powder.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to keep this cloth and
So,
What kind of peer
ask
over your
around.
kind of peer over your shoulder? Is that what the smell is?
Hold the rag up so you can sniff it.
Yes, it is. Lady Straub, was it? What was on the bottom of your safe?
Just documents, sketches, and of course a tidy sum of money.
Maybe that's how they got into the safe. They aren't cracking it, they're just using magic.
You think so?
What was the last thing you added to the safe? And do you remember when?
It would have been the most recent sketch I made of Jessa. It was quite a while ago. I don't remember the exact date or time, but I simply
Jessa
placed
would
that
have
inside.
Seen you put it there.
No, she had left by that time.
What did you use to make the sketch? Just charcoal
Yes,
and regular paper?
it's a standard sheaf of paper. Yes. I don't
Do you
understand. You're saying
recognize?
there's something.
I'll take the regular. Do you recognize the smell?
No, I've never encountered that before. Not to my knowledge.
can I check? Do I notice anything?
I mean, you're a tinker elf.
I am, like, if all of us, I'm the only one who probably knows exactly the component what it is.
Okay, so you can give me an Arcana check
Sure.
or an Engineer
To
to cover like both sides
right.
of the
Sure, let's go with 19 for Arcana.
19 for Arcana. Okay,
Solid.
Ah,
so you know that smelling it, taking a look at the inside of the safe, getting a good whiff of it now that you've got a strong source of it. That is a arcane powder that's used in illusion applications called Hylian. Now, you don't deal with that stuff yourself, but you know that certain artificers, certain alchemists like to use it. Hylien.
which way?
Lien. Hylian.
Clearly, it's Hylian.
Well.
And all of you have sort of vaguely heard of that. Like,
Oh, okay.
In the same way that you might have heard of potassium chloride, or it's just a element, an ingredient to you.
Sure.
An agent.
Yeah.
My lady, we might need to discuss how Hylian got on your valuables in your safe.
I do not know. I imagine perhaps the burglar added this material.
Likely.
Or used it to open it. What is Hylian used for exactly?
Yeah, do I know?
Yeah, you know they're like I said.
Alchemy, illusions, you said?
Yeah, it's primarily used in to craft sort of. It's a powder that, when manipulated, either with other alchemical ingredients or used in sort of magical applications specifically, will act as a potent illusory sort of effect. Right. In this, think of it this way: in the same way that taking LSD will sort of warp and amplify your senses, Hylian will sort of warp and amplify and distort the common person's, the non-tuned person's senses. So unless they know exactly what they're looking for, the visual and auditory and the sensual, no, that's not right.
Sensory.
The sensory, thank you. The sensory input that they're getting is off. It's wrong. You know.
Are they likely to notice?
So I will
No.
relay this information to everyone. And so what it suggests to me that powder was used
So it's
to either an object that was put in the safe before it was stolen, or it was used by the thief
to cover his tracks.
to cover his tracks.
So
To
it's
keep
used
people
more
from
as
noticing.
like
So
a toxin and a poison than
If
like you don't use it on
Lady
yourself
Shroud doesn't
to
know
hide
about
yourself.
it,
You use it on other people
Yeah,
to hide
it's-
yourself.
The applications that from what Gabriel can tell you, it's meant to be applied to an object to essentially, or to an area or whatever. It's kind of to mask it or to distort its presence, right? To release this sort of.
So you would use it on yourself if you wanted yourself hidden?
You could, but that application's never been tried for fear of.
The effects that has on yourself.
Yeah.
I'll go around the safe inside and pat every surface there. Maybe there's like a double layer bottom or something.
False bottom.
Yeah, like maybe that's what was covered by. I don't know.
So you're lining your hand
Yeah.
inside the safe, and all of these panels seem smooth. The rear, the ceiling, the two walls, and the floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the surveillance tech like?
Basically non-existent. Well, I mean, you're still dealing with people. Right. They have simple,
I wonder if
photograph
they put
devices
something
in the
that-
same way that you might have a daguerreotype or something.
But you
know,
wouldn't have
got
like
scrying
motion
too, right?
picture.
and scrying is a thing too, but in terms of technology providing video recording or anything like that,
Yeah, you wouldn't have like CRT.
I was just wondering if
not
they would,
developed.
if he'd hide something in there and mask it so she couldn't see it. That would allow him access to the safe.
it's possible, but
I
not
told you, I
through
can
a
make,
technological way.
Up to 6 VR goggles.
At least not in the way of, like, not altering.
Totally.
It would have to be an altering of the visual
I think that's what we're doing right now.
input via magic or alchemy. Technology can't do that yet.
Do you know of people who sell this component? Maybe we could find, or if we already know who used it, but probably that goblin. But
I imagine either of us know people who probably sell highly. And
Yeah.
We can find suppliers.
maybe there was someone else involved.
I'm going to take a quick moment to just dust the outside for prints using the makeup palette I've got.
And tip of your tail.
Okay.
I mean, that'd work. Oof. 9, if we're using investigation.
Yeah, that would be appropriate. Or I guess you could.
Science.
I would allow you to use science for that as well. I think that's a decent application of science.
Probably
Oh,
not
science
better.
is there.
Still be a 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with a 9, it looks like, as you expected, because because no one was, sort of
Careful.
respecting like proper sort of forensic procedure or whatever. You've got a muddle of fingerprints, especially around the dial itself. It's
Whole bunch of partial prints.
basically you've got a lot of partial prints sort of plastered
Smudges.
over each other, so it's difficult to get a solid, a singular print in any kind of usable condition. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at my gloved hands and I'm like,
You're
hide them. It's just like, oh.
You designed fingerprints on the outside of your gloves.
just to make sure they know who's here. Yeah.
Got to sign your work.
Yep.
If you'd gotten here earlier, maybe say an hour or even earlier after the burglary had taken place, you could have gotten probably a clean print.
Okay.
Especially if you were able to filter it out of Lady Straub's print.
Yeah.
Now, because of the staff, because of
Everybody else.
all of you, and it's too muddled.
How long have you been feeling so under the weather? I can tell you are coming down with what seems like a pretty severe illness.
I had hoped not to speak of that, frankly.
This is very not polite to ask that kind of question. Don't you think?
That's quite all right.
It may be
Mr.
pertinent.
It's quite all right, Mr. Tharma. I understand that in an investigation, all stones must be overturned. Yeah. I'm not sure how familiar you are with House Straub and people within, but my bloodline is... well, we've always said that it was tainted in some way. Not in the old country sense of a curse or some kind of magical chicanery, but we simply are a sick...
She looked at me when she said this.
we're simply a sick family. Every pure descendant of the Straub line has a kind of... I'm not sure... They haven't exactly come up with a codified name for it yet. It's hard to describe. The body seems to waste away rather quickly, starting at the 19th, 20th birthday, and it rapidly accelerates until your average Straub descendant, depending on the strength of the bloodline, will most likely die before they reach 40. It is a difficulty that the Straubs possess and must deal with. It is as important to our family as anything else.
Being just living in more wealthy neighborhood, I would say, a part of town, and knowing quite a lot of wealthy families, would I know about that story?
Yeah, you're familiar. I mean, you know that it's not publicly discussed a lot, but there have been enough over the decades that the Straub House has been in La Marasma, and before in the old country when they were a noble family of some repute, right? You know that plenty of Straub, of members of House Straub, have died around the age of 40, sure enough, or earlier, and in similar circumstances. It's kind of a...
Proves your lineage.
It's a public secret, right?
Okay,
in that way.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to be rude or anything, but I nod when she tells the story, and I understand it's I respect the secret, and when she looks at me, I nod, so she understands that I understand that she's sharing a secret in this moment.
This just proves that the urgency of trying to find your lover and bring you together for your last moments.
You understand my desperation, then. I only have so much time left in this world, and I would like to spend it with Jessa doing what we will, rather than what has been foisted upon me by my family or by my culture.
I don't do that gesture, but that's what...
It's going through your mind, you're just like...
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I giggle a little.
It's evening, right?
Yeah, what time of day it is?
Was it early?
You arrived around noon, sort of midday.
Okay.
So now it is...
Still like...
it's early in the afternoon. You reckon you've got about 3 or 4 hours left before night starts to fall?
We should probably get to the market before it closes, see if we can find who sells this.
Yes.
I think I'd like to go straight to Jess's house.
She might be at work right now.
It's alright.
Are you suggesting you're going to split up?
I can
That's always a good idea.
It's always a great idea.
Because my
What I
suggestion
understand.
was maybe
It's never worked out poorly.
look out for her place of employment, try to catch her from while she's going home.
Sure. Do you know where all the brick masters are?
Plenty.
Perhaps we not ambush her in the streets. It's rather impolite.
I was thinking just to
dangerous.
spot her maybe not to
That's the one.
nab her.
And then follow her.
We know where she lives, right? She told us how
No,
to find her.
no. We know the vague,
Area.
the Half-Cock's Tavern. That she's there, but we don't know where she lives. We know where she
Okay.
works, but I would again, if this is like early afternoon, late afternoon, I would suggest that we go and ask some alchemical parts of market, maybe a couple merchants, to see who recently bought Hylian, and start from there, and that gives us some time later that we can, again, maybe Jessa will get back from work at the time, so we can get her.
So, just
or try
to make sure I
meet her
remember
later.
right, our primary mission is to get Jessa to her house.
Correct.
That is main.
Yeah,
mission.
bring Jessa back to Straub's Manor. Yes.
Oh yeah, did you share any information that there's like a reward for bringing the goblin back? Nice.
No.
Just keep that to yourself.
Yeah.
You had the wanted poster.
Yeah, I had the
And
wanted
you
poster.
showed it, right?
There was no amount of money written on it.
There was no.
At least I was not informed if there was.
Yeah,
So I
don't
thought there
remember
was a
your-
3,000 bounty
It was the
written
lot.
on
Maybe.
the poster.
No, there. Yeah,
It was
I thought you were playing dumb.
No,
Then.
it's-
No, there is a. It was
No,
a,
just literally
It was a
dumb right
3,000 gold bounty.
Yeah.
No, it was listed on the wanted poster.
But you didn't
Well, yeah.
share that to anyone who was.
I've shared the
He-
poster.
yeah, he
so
shared
yeah,
the
it's-
poster.
It's now common
So
knowledge.
if you have a good enough
Curses.
eyesight,
Yeah. Wait a second.
peasant perception of
3K?
11.
No, they put the numbers big. I mean, they want people to look at the poster.
Yeah. It's usually the
your
next
old
biggest
cowboy
is
bebop.
dead or alive.
Right.
So, have we left her house yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
You're still in the study.
Okay.
Oh.
Unless you have any other ideas, I
Uh.
suggest the market first.
To burn off some time, but remember, finding the goblin and whoever else is secondary.
It's true. So, she frequents this tavern, or she works there. She
lives nearby.
She lives
She works at
nearby
a
the half
brick-
cocked. She
a
works
brickmaker.
at a brickmaker.
brickmaker. That's
factory.
it. I couldn't remember her trade. Okay.
She's a factory worker at a location where
A
they
brick
make bricks.
factory.
And
Okay.
does she work night shift because of her species?
Who knows?
It depends.
Prefers.
You
yeah.
again you don't know a whole lot about Dampier
Here.
specifically, mostly because depending on the sort of ratio of
Human to
Bloodline.
vampire.
human to vampireness, right?
Mhm.
They can either stay to the shadows or walk in the daylight
Right.
with no problem. It just depends. They're a weird sort
Need
of
coffee.
a weird
Oh,
broad kind of
definitely.
umbrella
Thank you.
encompassing this human vampire kind of hybrid, right? It's very a case by case basis.
All right. I have nothing else to add here. I can't think of anything else we could do in this library. Anyone else got any ideas? Anything I might be missing?
It'd just be narrowing down the time.
All right.
Lady Straub, do you know when... Do you know much about her condition?
She has, because of our intimacy, she has confided in me some information. I understand that she does not suffer when walking in the daylight. That's how she's able to maintain her identity, so to speak, as a simple brickmaker. She goes during the day to work at factory, and then is able to leisurely recline during the evening, and I am able to see her occasionally, as our lives align. I understand that she does not. I'm sorry. It still brings me makes me a bit shuddery to even think of it, but she does indeed crave blood, but not nearly as strongly as her brethren, if you wanted to put it that way. She finds that it is easily sated by the blood of a small animal or something periodically. I have never seen her feast in this way, nor
Pigeon like an apple.
nor do I particularly want to, but it is a part of her, and so I accept it.
Just thinking about me walking around town with a goat.
Yeah.
To like lure her out. Fresh goat.
just very Jurassic
You're
Park.
gonna
Just,
you're
"Where'd
gonna
the
get a
goat
lot of.
go?"
You may not get a lot of vampires, but you will get a lot of perverts.
Where'd the goat go?
Yeah.
It's true, actually. So,
Did we
Half
already
orc and
ask
a
her
goat
where they
go
met?
to-
Somehow I feel like I should remember that. Where and how they
If it wasn't the
met
town.
each other. Did we ask that already, David?
I'm
Don't
not
believe
sure. I don't recall. I believe in.
Did I just call you David?
I think so. Yes, which is okay.
We just kind of let that one go.
Yeah, just let it slide.
You're tired. It's been tech week. It's cool. We'll give you a
It's
break, man.
it's
I'm just going, what did I just say?
I have those moments all the time.
To my knowledge, you haven't asked about where the two of them met. You just know
I
that
will do
they.
so then.
Okay. Lady Strub takes a moment. Her eyes go up and to the left as if she's remembering, and then she. Yes, I remember distinctly. It was 2 months prior. I was. It is common for some members of the nobility to take walking tours of different districts to become familiar with the people, the culture, the rhythms, so that in conversation with people of our class, we are not seen as ignorant of these things, that we are knowledgeable of the city and our place within it. Some people use that as a fulcrum by which to lift themselves above their fellow people, and for others it is a leveling effect. I had hoped it would be the same for me by walking amongst the lesser peoples. And I mean that in only in that terminology that the fellow uses. I thought perhaps that I would feel closer to them, that I would feel that their struggles were mine. I remember walking down a particular street in Poxborough. I had my coat up against a stiff wind and a light rain, and I recall seeing at the corner across from me a truly striking creature. She was as if a classical statue had been placed inside the garb of a common worker or peasant. She looked as if she was a contradiction in terms. We are walking down the street there in Poxborough, in a place of, as you all no doubt know, smoke and grime and tiredness and pain.
Mm-hmm.
And she lit up the street like a candle. I felt inexplicably drawn to her. I remember introducing myself. She smiled and took a demure reaction, which I had initially suspected was because of my status, but I later realized was the first spark of attraction. We met several times thereafter, and the rest is the story I've told.
You always met here? At your house?
No. We met at the Half-Cocked, the tavern. I was, of course, disguised is not the proper word for it, but obscured, so that I would not be readily noticed. I would not wear the standard and noble clothing, as I am wont to do here in Conquest. I have, once or twice, been to her home, but upon her insistence, I was always... it seems almost absurd now, but I was blindfolded. She didn't want to know. She didn't want me to know, or anyone to know, precisely where she lived.
Would she
She
recognize?
thought it was too much of a risk.
Would she recognize your garb? Was it always very similar in your disguised look?
I tried to vary my clothing. It was of rougher make. I had a servant purchased some simple clothing for me.
So that's the thing that I kind of forgot, that Jessa is incredibly beautiful. So in the crowd, we will know it's her.
I was hoping
She will be out of
Theoretically,
character. Yeah.
to dress one of us
Yeah,
up,
it's not a...
but that won't work.
You mean me?
Yes.
By one of
try-
us, you mean me.
To try to
I nominate you, my friend.
Go for
I
it.
like the look
I
of
can
it.
do it.
The 3'7" tall fox would totally do for a good
Well, I
time.
mean, you know, if you just
The
have
tail would give me away.
hood up and hat,
It definitely have to be me.
Just sitting there,
Just
and just
fold my ears
imagining with
down.
the hood over, the ears just popping up and down, and the hood.
I mean,
I'm just
if
now
my
imagining
ears
myself in
show
like
a
a
little
bonnet, just like a half orc in a bonnet, just.
I swear by my pretty floral bonnet.
Yeah, that's the episode I was thinking of.
It's just like midriff because
You don't fit, of course.
It like fits over one of your arms.
just it's almost like a tank top.
It's a fucking bikini. And that's not a pretty sight, my man.
So,
I just, I struggle to see the point of 5 of us going down to accost a merchant of alchemical agents
well, that's what...
when I, or at least someone with me, could go sit in the half-cocked and wait for the production bell to ring, so to speak. I am no stranger to Poxborough or Half-Cocked. In fact, my work takes me there quite frequently.
So, here's what I'm gonna do.
Poxborough is my home.
So we have 2 paths here that we want to investigate. The alchemical shops, and it would be good to have someone to just sit in half-cocked if Jessa shows up.
It's a 3-way split.
No way. What's the third way?
In the streets of Boxborough, one in the tavern, and then
I
No
don't
one
see.
wandering around the streets.
I
is
don't
gonna
see
be
any
that
reason I couldn't
effective.
poke around looking for her house before I went to Half-Cocked. If I'm unsuccessful, then I am.
I've spent enough time in Poxborough to know you don't want to go wandering around without a reason.
I don't.
well,
wanna
I
go-
live there,
I
so
don't wanna
it's
go
not
there
a
anyway.
reason. It's just
Like,
That's just a feature.
What's that?
I don't want to
it's
go
just
there at all.
walking around.
Unless you have a change of clothes, I suggest you don't.
Yes.
I don't get bothered very
Please.
much.
Well, the clothing is part of it. Not but a week ago, I was accosted by some bandits.
Did you kill them?
Yes.
Good. Cleaning up the streets. Thank you.
Yes, he did. I was there.
Murderers.
Self-defense.
Right.
When they threaten to kill
Stand
you,
your
kill them
ground
back.
laws are
You remember,
pretty
that, you remember
great.
that part in Shane where he throws the gun and like pick up the gun? He finally picks up the gun. The guy shoots him. You all saw it. He had a gun.
Stand your ground.
Oh.
So I'm,
Okay.
Just sandbagging that.
Yeah.
I'm betting if our Tinker Elf walks into Poxborough right now, he's gonna look pretty fucking out of place. Is that
Yes.
valid?
Yes.
Do you have?
What do you mean if? No.
He's saying he's not.
Oh, you're
There's
not.
no way he's going.
Great.
I'm saying
Have fun.
He's saying
Yeah.
he's going to visit the alchemy.
I'm
you know,
about
while
to visit
we
a
go.
couple of
Suppliers.
alchemist suppliers in town. Who's with me?
I can't
Theodore,
decide.
just you don't count. Just
This is something I know a little bit about, but I'm also from Poxborough, so I know that place pretty well too.
Wait, that's right. You're Sandy. Kyoko.
Okay. So, if we're gonna plot and plan, we should be out of her library, so she's
Probably,
not just
yes.
listening to us.
Thank you, my lady, for your time. We will come back to you as soon as we find
Of course,
something.
please, when you have some information, or better yet, when you have Jessa, please
Where
contact me as
should
soon as
we
possible.
meet up? Outside the city.
She wants us to bring her here, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Return
Is
to-
there? Are there unobtrusive ways to enter?
If you go along the eastern side street, there is a service store that the staff uses for deliveries of goods, usually items for lunch and supper. If you will take the side street and enter that way, it will be most likely that you will not be seen by
Is there-
passers-by.
A less obtrusive way, even than that.
Not conventionally speaking, no. Unless you
Unconventionally
are-
speaking.
If you are magically inclined, I suppose you could fly to the roof. I don't.
No. Surely you have ways to get in and out that are unobtrusive, secret, hidden ways.
Not in this manner, no.
No? Very well. Back door it is.
Do we have a box that we could put her in? I could carry her.
We put her in a box.
You know, like we're bringing food.
An orange box, perhaps?
Picnic basket. It's really
Someone other than the half orc will decide how to conceal Jessa, I promise.
You see that Lady Straub is looking a little paler now. She has a kind of a little bit of a sheen of sweat on her forehead. She takes a handkerchief from inside her great coat and dabs at her forehead. Excuse me. I'll need to.
we should be on our way.
I'll need to retire for now. If you will, please.
Absolutely.
Thank you again for your help.
Shall we see ourselves to the door, or will you call
yes,
your man?
just no, please.
All right, off we go. Okay. I don't like this at all. There's no reason for her to need us to do this. I don't trust Jessa. Something weird is going on. Someone knew how to get into that safe. Someone knew where the stuff was. Jessa would know. Who else would know? I think she's being set up.
Quite possibly.
That is the worry.
Which is why it's better for us to go and find Jessa and spring the trap than her.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Also, I'm questioning myself. What am I even doing here with you guys?
That's a good question.
Sounds like a question.
Yeah.
for
Because,
you.
Gabe,
Are
We're
you questioning it?
fascinated.
No.
No, are you questioning it out loud as a character, or is this like his
The
internal?
visual
monologue?
is like very
internal
internal.
monologue,
Okay.
yeah. I look at Theodore.
Theodore understands.
Yeah.
It's just
He's just
regret.
like standing there. Let's go.
Just a simple nod.
Oh, Theodore, these people can talk back to me. I'm not sure I like it.
Yeah. That's all happening inside my noggin. It's like, ugh.
It's a whole nother story going on in there.
Well, shall we go to Boxborough?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I wasn't.
Oh.
You're not invited. I wasn't inviting you.
I understand you want to go somewhere else.
Perhaps it would be good if you brought some muscle with you to talk to the merchants.
If you need people pushing around, I guess.
Perhaps you would like some more refined protection.
Wonderful. Let's just say that he will be out of character in that
Oh, I know.
nature.
But I don't much care for the idea of wandering around Poxborough with this big orc going do 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 behind me. So
I think he'd perfectly
I'm just a normal person there.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All
Come with
right.
us, my friend.
So the three of us will go to Poxborough.
It wouldn't be
and
weird for
you
me
two?
to be hanging out at home. It's,
People know him there.
okay, sometimes people do ask me what I'm doing at the factory when I'm putting the
Always
symbol of
trying to
Morden
start
on
a
the wall,
union.
trying to bless the factory.
Have you tried to create like a religious union? Is that your approach to it?
It's not really everybody who makes product is a practitioner of Morden. They are creating, maybe
Whether
not,
they know it or
not
not.
necessarily in their name, but they are practicing.
Ah, the
His
Presbyterian
work.
version.
Sure did.
So there's no like Prince version.
So
Yes,
all should be
uh,
included, even if they don't. It's they should all receive the benefit.
I see.
It's.
Shall we go?
Absolutely.
I'm not trying to go.
Thank
back.
you.
Just that
what is
curt
your-
turn
No
of the
need.
tail.
Yeah. What is your name again?
Kyoko.
Kyoko. Nice to meet you.
I'm just trying to.
Gabriel.
Followers,
Pleasure
whether
to
they
meet
know
you.
it or
And gives
not.
you like a very slight bow.
Not even. They
Same
don't
here.
need to be followers. They just. I just want everybody to be have a better
While
life.
these two are talking, I'm already walking.
It doesn't matter.
You're heading to Foxborough.
Off into
Yeah.
the sunset.
Coat up,
We're with you.
camera tucked,
Okay, so
You know
making
what?
myself as shadow-like as
Just-
possible in the crowds.
Just before we
While we just discussing here, just
So just before we split,
could have a theological discussion.
I will create
What
two.
is doing?
I'll just get into my pockets and find two just pocket watch, simple ones,
okay.
and I'm gonna create two timers and set them for the same time, and the alarm will pretty much just go off.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna give one to you,
Okay.
and I will keep one on myself. So let's say we meet up in half cocked in, let's say, 5 hours,
Okay.
or
Sounds
whatever appropriate time would be, like 7, 8 at night.
Mhm.
So
We'll call it an even 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
So one for you, one for me, and we'll be on our way.
The watches have been synchronized.
Mm-hmm.
This is when bad stuff happens.
Hey, that's
At least we
Never
know
happened
when
to
the
me
bad
before.
stuff will happen.
So, Leras, Sandy, and Karaka are headed to Poxborough, and Gabriel and Kyoko. You know, Gabriel, that if you want alchemical ingredients, the best place to go is the Mercantile District, which is adjacent to Gainsey, where the security district, where the police department is. You know, it's called Ochreland.
Okerland.
Yes. Ochre land.
All right.
Be ochre.
It's actually ochre.
I've always said ochre.
It's ochre.
I don't know that I've ever heard anyone say it out loud, but I've always said ochre in my head.
I commonly mispronounce things. That's fine.
You know that
American.
is all of, well, not all, but a great majority of the trading and the business concerns of the city is right there. That's the heart of capital moving and selling and all that stuff in La Marasma. You also know, unfortunately enough, that it is essentially the home of the Sunstroke Creed.
Sunstroke what?
The Sunstroke Creed.
Oh.
The rapidly rising
You should have mentioned that to me before you left.
fundamentalist religion
Drink
that
lots of water.
seeks to eliminate all non-human citizens from La Marasma.
So neither of you should be in this.
I like
Well,
this
it's also the
decision.
mercantile
hey.
heart of the city, so surely, in spite of that, there are plenty of non-humans there.
Yes, of course. And so
As long as we stay on the beat.
the Sunstroke,
But you know, there's
this-
usually
the
protection.
Sunstroke
rackets.
Creed is not so powerful a player that they're able to like openly bar
Assault.
people from walking on the street or whatever. It's just that sentiment, that anti
It's not like
non-human
the
sentiment
right
is
brand.
beginning to bubble amongst a growing part of the Marasma population.
Well, that's good that we're going there. We're going to change their minds.
If you run into
One
a guy
fell
named
swoop.
Liam, just punch him.
someone
One way or another.
We're going to tilt the balance.
One way.
We're gonna change their minds or blow their minds right out of their skulls.
So I briefly educate my friend about the... Can you repeat the name of the organization?
Sunstroke Creed.
Sunstroke, as in the condition, right? Sunstroke, and then Creed, CREED.
Creed.
Oh, we haven't discussed where all our backgrounds are from and characters. Haha,
Yeah.
cool.
Yep. It's awesome. Sunstroke Creed.
Never heard of them before, but I have heard of those humanity first sort of organizations. Haven't had to deal with many of them out on the frontier, but I guess big city, big problems.
Indeed.
Are there are no humans in our group at all, are there?
No, I'm the closest we got.
All right.
Well, I mean, I'm just half human too.
That's true, you are.
Come on.
I
That's
forget
actually,
because your orc side seems to be very looming, literally.
The scales are like orc. Maybe a little bit of human.
Let's be honest.
You're a
I'm also-
three-quarters orc.
I'm half
On your
orc,
mother's side.
but I'm also
Raised by a
raised
dwarf.
by a dwarf, which makes the half orc seem very strong.
You're,
Which is
you're
why
truly a
I
paragon of
forget.
diversity.
Which is why I forget that you're actually half human. Sorry, friend.
You're not even culturally human. You're culturally dwarven.
Yeah.
True.
You're almost done.
And you said Calrook is a human, right?
Calaruk, yes.
Calrook is human.
Cornelius Calaruk is the reverend of the Sunstroke Creed, essentially the spiritual, the religious leader of this cult.
Oh, he's definitely not fully human.
No, he is human.
You sure?
Yeah, my mom was an elf. He was human.
Oh, that's right.
She's
You're his
biological
kid,
proof.
aren't you? Okay.
Half elf.
Now, granted, it could be the weird situation where it ends up two half-elves, but
Yeah, could happen. Okay.
that would require a lot more lying.
Or
But he was married to a non-human.
No.
No, or he got a child on a
Yeah.
non-human.
There you go.
I was looking for the thing because much like today, when you find that someone is a family values conservative, it really means closeted gay adulterer.
Right.
So-
yes.
Much like
Am I understanding it correctly? Your dad is...
You guys don't know that in character.
Yeah. We don't know, but your dad is running a cult of racists. So he banged your mom, so you're probably not an expected child.
Presumably.
Okay,
Definitely, yeah.
okay. I'm just tying it all together. Okay.
In my backstory, he actually killed my mom, and that's
Nice,
why
that's awesome.
Yeah.
left
I'm
the
glad I
cult.
don't know that.
So-
The understanding is that Cornelius, like
Sorry.
your average sort of family values first conservative, is not walking the walk, right?
Yeah.
And so he is
Right.
essentially, there was a dalliance with an elf at some point that produced twins, twin half-elves, right? Leras and her twin brother Liam.
Liam, yeah. Liam looks way more human than I do.
And they were essentially, they're bastard children. They were just swept under the rug. Although Cornelius did, in order to sort of, smooth things over, had that elf woman, Leras and Liam's mother, killed sacrificially, like as part of a secret Sunstroke Creed kind of cult ritual, basically.
Is there any coffee left or you need more?
Is there a mug or...
Yes.
Initially, Leras and Liam
by the fridge cupboard.
were willing participants in this religious structure, but that moment essentially, broke any kind of connection between Leras and Cornelius because she couldn't. That was a step too far. It's one thing to spout all this racist rhetoric or whatever, or to truly feel like humans, deserve this place or whatever, but to do cult sacrifice and things like that was too far. So
especially of your mom.
Leras leaves, yeah. So Leras leaves, but Liam stays.
Okay.
And so he is involved, at least from what Leras knows, involved in the Sunstroke Creed in some capacity.
So we're going to kill her brother.
He's clearly not a
Necessary.
public figure
In this street fight, that's
for
about to
obvious
happen.
reasons.
Because he doesn't look human.
Exactly. Well, he looks more human than Leras does, but it's clear that those aren't human ears.
Right.
Like that goes against their humanity first sort of whole philosophy.
He could have had plastic surgery. By plastic, I mean with a knife.
So knife surgery. Knife.
Surgical alterations.
And so that's the rough sketch
Very
Okay.
of Leras and Liam and their relationship with Reverend KarakaRachel.
And I totally just thrust upon Jason. I'm so sorry, dear.
No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
It's the fun of character backgrounds.
yeah.
Free
It's a
information.
complicated one, but that's part of what makes
It's
it
free
interesting.
information that you don't have to make.
Exactly. As a DM, I love
Okay,
it.
that's true. I'd forgotten about that. aspect of it.
All right.
So you want like 5
We're
paragraphs.
there.
Now, the cool thing is that your characters don't actually know exactly.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Meta knowledge segregated in your mind. And
Yes.
we're good.
Okay.
So you beat it out of my character.
So let's deal with Gabriel and Kyoko in Okerland first, because that's sort of a simple. We're going to talk to an alchemist. We're going to figure this thing out.
Theoretically.
So you know Gabriel based on your circle of artisans and fellow craftsmen and craftspeople, I should say, in Cold Crest, that the best place to get alchemical ingredients is a place called Resolve of the Sphinx.
I've heard about Sphinx before.
The Resolve of the Sphinx is it's a sizable shop in Okerland that is actually an armorer's place.
Ooh, I like them already.
But from what you understand, the shopkeep, Akis, deals in alchemical stuff sort of on the side. Not in a shady way, simply that this isn't my primary trade, but I have this as well. And because of his connections, he's able to get some premium quality material. So all the alchemists, if they want to get
powder.
if they want to get the good stuff, they go to Akis at Resolve the Sphinx.
Akis knows where to get the pure arcane powder.
The good stuff.
It's blue.
It's not cut at all.
100% pure grade A, highly.
Yes. So, yeah, we'll go there. To,
Okay.
Is there a passphrase
Resolve
for
of the
this?
Sphinx.
So you were in no. So you were in Cold Crest. It's
Yeah.
about. Are you traveling on foot? Are you using a cab, or how are you doing it?
Well, I came here with Theodore on a cab, right? Did they wait for me, or it was just?
Oh, yeah,
like a
they
taxi
waited for you outside because you asked them to. You asked them
Okay,
to wait
yeah,
for you.
then I'll gesture and they will pick us up.
Okay, the cab picks you up and takes you over to Okerland. You give the cabbie the name that Resolve of the Sphinx, and he knows exactly where it is. He heads
Good
that
cabbie.
way.
Have you been to this place before?
Have I?
Music drop.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you been to Resolve of the Sphinx? No, that's
No, it's like the Requiem. Like, just in my mind, just nope, never been there.
They're just remembering like a firefight or something.
Yeah. Whoops.
So the cabbie drops you off in front of Resolve of the Sphinx. He asks for his requisite 3 gold pieces for
3 gold pieces.
the travel.
Jeez.
Made
I don't say that out loud,
Yeah.
but I.
Internally screaming.
Yeah.
Per person or just
No, for the trip.
Well,
I offer to cover one of the gold pieces since I'm one of the 3 beings in the back.
that makes sense.
Yeah, you, Theo, and Gabriel.
I pay my way.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. He picked me up, and then he waited, and then
Yeah.
that's a fair price, I guess. In this part of town.
It was the best Triscuits.
So he takes off, and you are in front of this kind of brick building with a faux overhang made out of sort of multicolored shingles, and you can see that there is a small, taller than it is wide door with the glass panes set inside, and there is a sort of frosted onto the glass is a sort of minimalist representation of a sphinx. You see a sort of a head and a tail and the body, and then you see resolve of the sphinx there, and it looks like, sure enough, that the place is of course still open. There's still light streaming in from inside.
I put information just to myself that sphinxes are like getting popular now, so I'll definitely work on that later.
Sure, yeah, the
For my,
sphinxes, yeah.
toys.
Nice.
So yeah, let's. Shall we go inside?
Of course. I'm going to take a quick moment to just take the leather jacket off and kind of wrap the blunderbuss in it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Just so I'm just in all the fine clothing.
Yep.
So you
Trying to
walk
look
in,
the part.
you push the door open, you hear the distinct kind of resonant gong noise of a gong or something being chimed in the distance. You see that the place is chock-a-block with all kinds of cuirasses and plates, shields. There are greaves and all manner of things sort of like mounted on the wall and in display cases. And you can see at the far end, at the back of the store, there is a long, dark wooden bar, essentially acting as a counter. And behind it, you can see, looking at some pile of, looks like various sort of technical bits, gears and sprockets and so on, with wearing a series of glasses that have those sort of extendable, like flip-on lenses, is a male gnome. This gnome has a sort of short auburn dreadlocks sort of bunched up at the back, and bushy eyebrows that you can see just poking out over the sort of little multi-lens goggles. And from what you understand, that's probably Akis.
Good day, Akis.
He looks up. Hello. Oh,
Hello.
what can I do for you?
I was wondering.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't notice you.
I'm just
I'm sorry.
lost looking at a pair of greaves on the wall.
Everything.
Try not to. Please try not to touch this. Thank you.
My name is Gabriel Tharma. You might
Tharma, yeah, I've
heard of me.
I've heard of you. Yeah,
Yep.
Tharmacog. Yeah.
I'm working on a new project, a new marionette, and I was wondering if you have some Hylian for sale.
Hi, Hylian. I'm gonna have to look at the back. It's gonna take a few minutes. Don't leave. I'll be back.
Absolutely.
You see him sort of hop off what was now that you can see a very tall stool and disappear into the back room.
I want to hug him.
So, do I? He seems a little distressed. Do I think he's there's tension, or that's how he is?
There's clearly tension about him, but based on the way that he's acting and what you've heard from other people, that's just his sort of nervous disposition, right?
Okay.
He's a timid kind of. He has social difficulties, and so that seems normal from what you understand.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let him go.
Was he working on something when we came in?
Well, you saw that he was. It looks like he was taking a look at a pile of gears and sprockets. It doesn't look like it was. It wasn't a completed anything, or even a partially finished anything. It was like a series of assorted parts and so
It's the
on.
beginnings of
Yeah.
work.
I got 5 minutes. Can I try to make an engineering test to understand what he was at least working on?
Sure, yeah.
See if that helps put him at ease, talking about something familiar. Well, if the dice work, that's an 8.
Okay, so you take a look at it.
I haven't rolled above a 5.
Your luck, it just has
I try not to
been
look
good
at that.
for like a while.
Okay.
Just like, I'll let the fox do his thing, whatever he's interested in. Just like, okay, here we go.
So Kyoko, you take a look, and you see that there's just a lot of stuff here, and it doesn't automatically make a lot of sense.
Just like sensory overload.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's like
A lot of gears.
a handful of gears and a bunch of sprockets.
Different
There's all
sizes.
kinds of look like ball bearings and bits of wire and so on. It's difficult to make heads or tails of it. Clearly, there was some kind of method there, but it's buried inside madness.
I will leave that be.
You see, after a short time, Akis returns, and after you hear a small grunt, and you see him scale the stool, and he places on the counter in a sort of a slightly jittery hand a squarish vial, about as tall as a person's sort of finger, right? Filled with a turquoise powder. It's about 3/4 of the way full. This vial, and
Is it corked or is it like glass?
there's
press?
a cork inside.
Okay.
Yeah. It's clearly meant to be a disposable or even recyclable.
And this is
vial.
like one portion of it.
Yeah, this is sort of if you are using it for an average alchemist project that involves Hylian would. This is basically like a dose or
Okay.
a unit.
Yeah, I'll just take the vial, look at it, sort of get to the light, see how it like runs in the vial, put it back to the counter, and I'll say, yeah, it seems like
Seems good.
seems good, seems pure.
Yes,
Checks out.
yes, it is. I try to get it from best sources, people straight from the old country. That's what they
When
want.
was when, if I may ask, when did you receive this?
Oh, this batch,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
unit.
When does it expire?
Thursday.
Thursday.
2 weeks. No, 2 weeks. No, week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
What day is today?
Tuesday.
Week and a half.
Okay.
Does this Hylian usually sell quickly?
Oh, God, I'm sorry. I was.
What?
Yes. Sorry. What? I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
Does Hylian sell well? Do you have to constantly restock it?
Yes. Most of the artisans and alchemists in the city, they traffic in quite a bit of it for their experiments. What they're working on, I don't know.
Have you ever sold to somebody who wasn't an artisan you're familiar with?
I'd have to look at my ledger. Nah, nothing comes to mind.
Kyoko. For a second.
Of course.
Outside.
He goes ducks underneath the bar to retrieve the ledger.
So, do you think we should show him the your paper and say just like, have you seen this goblin? Or did this goblin bought anything like this?
Be worth a
alien from
check.
you?
Although, if this goblin's as good as he thinks he is, probably have somebody else buy it for him. But you never know; he might slip up.
Let's check. Mr. Akas?
You see him.
Akis.
Akis returns with his ledger and promptly splats it on the counter, flips it open, looks through a couple of pages very quickly. No. All we have within the last 2 weeks, we have. Let's see here. I don't personally verify all of their occupations, but they have listed here that several artificers, mostly alchemists, one researcher on behalf of the Marasma government, but that is not unusual. I've seen him and some of his colleagues.
Mr. Arcus, excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You see, we're working on behalf of
Might be that guy.
governments lately, and we're looking for one particular person who might bought something like this file from you. Would you mind look at the what would it be? Picture?
Yeah.
It's an illustration.
Illustration of this person. Would you mind, Kyoko?
Provide the image from the poster.
But like covered the price on it.
Properly rolled up.
Yeah.
You see, Akis turns and puts his glasses back on. One slice of it, one new lens, and takes a close look at it. No, I don't recognize this one. No. Yes, I've seen the posters. I know it's a thief or something about Cold Crest, but I haven't seen him. Was that all you wanted? Just the Hylian?
Yes. How much is this vial of Hylian?
3,000 gold.
Don't give him ideas.
I don't. I understand you said you were working on behalf of the government. Is that correct?
Specifically, the marshal.
Oh, Marshal Airsat. I'm a strong supporter of the Marasma Police Department, and I don't want to. I don't want to seem as if I'm not cooperating. So just take that free on the house.
Is it a bribe?
Kind of feels like one.
Okay. Would I?
I'll accept the bribe.
Just so I know what I'm getting here.
Like before I pocket it, insight. Is he now overly stressed after he saw the poster?
Okay.
And the
Or
mention
like
of
the
police.
questions? Yeah.
Roll insight.
Okay.
This man clearly needs to be hugged and loved. I don't know why
Yes.
you're giving him such a hard time.
I'm trying not to. Short like me, I get it.
That will be
Yeah, man.
15.
10.
15 and 10? Okay. With the 15, Gabriel, you are able to take a look at him, and there is a lot of sort of visual and auditory noise that's sort of preventing you from getting a really good read on him, surely because of his disposition. But it seems like he is he's genuine. It seems like he wants to establish a good relationship with the police department. It seems like
I guess if you're a gnome and you do business in this part of town,
You really
being
want-
well thought of by the police is probably
you need
a good
protection.
idea.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, I'll take the vial of
I'm sure the one with the
Hylian.
stutters is like a real guy you don't want to vote.
Yeah.
Right?
You never
I'll,
know.
I'll take the vial of Hylian as an evidence.
I mean,
That's what you tell yourself.
we can theoretically use it to compare to other stuff.
Right. How pure it is.
Yeah. Akis, if you wouldn't mind, could we copy down from your ledger anybody who has purchased Hylian in the past couple of months, for the past month since these crimes have been going on?
Good thinking.
What crimes? Crime? Oh, the
Yes.
this, yeah. Yep. Please. And he sort of pushes the ledger closer to you so you can copy down the information.
Copy down some notes. Yeah.
Now, I suppose you'll be wanting the the Hylian anti-agent. I'm afraid I can't give that away. That's quite pricey to get a hold of.
Anti-agent?
Yes, it's not a scientific term. You know, it's just a thing that the alchemists and artificers throw around.
What does it do?
Purifies.
When Hylian is applied to an object or in any alchemical application, if you use this anti-agent, it essentially neutralizes the illusory applications. It doesn't see a lot of use because it is very expensive, and so that creates a kind of a barrier to its employment. Meaning, Hylian is still for its purposes very well priced.
Thank you for sharing this information, but I have to ask you another question then. Do you know anyone purchasing that?
Anti-agent.
Yeah. Regent?
Let me. Are you done? Are you done with the
Yeah, I'll
ledger?
spin it back around for me.
While he's like finding out the information, I'll look at the pile of cogs and springs on his counter, just like whatever. I'll fix it for you.
Okay, give me an engineering check. We'll see.
Engineering. Yeah.
Can he do
How
it?
about sleight of hand?
Which is you want to hide them.
Which is weird. Like
You're not very
I
good
did-
at engineering.
I didn't know that there is an engineering skill here. That's how about
He's got a
a
natural knack
9?
for it.
Bam!
Yeah, the occasional spring or sprocket goes flying, but you're able to cobble together a kind of crude a figurine, essentially.
Whatever was, they sell it in the box.
So, Akis reviews his ledger for about 15 seconds, and then there was one
proper
purchase of the anti-agent several months ago. From what I've recorded, and I'm 99% correct that I record everything. The gentleman, at least I think it was a gentleman. My memory's not good for that far back. Declined to give his name, but paid upfront for the anti-agent. Asked for it specifically, and did not look at any of the other items. He was interested in the one thing, and he left.
Thank you very much.
Of course,
Appreciate the information.
Of course,
Thank you.
of course.
If you, if anyone suspicious reaches out to you seeking information about the same regions, Mr. Hawkes, you know where to go.
How suspicious? How?
Like us. Maybe a little more suspicious.
About the same,
About,
Anyone as dodgy as us or dodgier.
Yep, of course.
If you see half orc,
Good
that's
barrier to
okay.
entry.
But
It's a good barrier to entry.
and then I'll bow gently and leave him be.
it's who gets there first is the least suspicious.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of the
I'm
two.
sure we were the first ones.
Hopefully.
If you see anyone with a goat,
Ooh, definitely.
So as the two of you leave the Resolve of the Sphinx, you hear
Please notify the constable.
you hear Akis's voice in a kind of a quiet tone to himself say, I don't remember building this.
Just kind of give you a side eye.
No, it's like
can someone please go hug that gnome in game? Does Akis get hugged?
I don't think Ekis wants a hug.
yeah. I think he.
I think
likes,
Ekis would be very uncomfortable with a hug.
Yeah.
Just a little one.
It's the one where he gets smothered every time he gets, and he's just not enjoying it.
An equally tiny gnome woman
Theodore,
just comes and hugs him.
go hug him.
Motherly.
I think he still gets smothered by another gnome. It's just...
I work with special needs kids. What
So,
do you guys want from me? You can't help
Kyoko,
them.
Gabriel, you have this list that you copied from
Yep.
the ledger of some purchases of Highland in the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Which, as you remember, is when the safe cracking started. The crime started happening.
Just a quick
Yes.
thing. Before we left, I would have asked probably, because Gabriel is smarter than me.
Okay.
So I would have asked how the anti-Hylian looks and maybe like smells. Like, is it like sharp to the nose? Like, just so if I encounter that smell or sight, I will know this is what it is. Yeah. Just like a quick description from Arcus.
Arcus gives you basically says that it's basically a raspberry colored kind of. It's not quite a powder. It's more like a silt. It's a little thicker.
Okay.
Than that. And it has a kind of
Wetter.
there's a slightly moist, slightly sweet sort of smell to it. It's
For some reason, I'm picturing the brown sugar. I don't know
A
why.
little bit, yeah.
I mean that's not too far off.
A little redder.
Just a little.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So like that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So
That
you
place
have
isn't
this
fun,
information now,
isn't it?
and you can review that ledger and see if there's anything that sort of ties together.
Well, let's see how the investigation check turns out.
Yes, make an investigation check, and then we will pop over to the others.
Hey, finally, 19.
19. Okay. So you're combing. It's quite a few entries. The Resolve of the Sphinx sees a lot of trade in and out regularly.
Was not
Doing quite well. But you notice that without access to, are the two of you sort of putting your heads together, or are you doing this?
I
I'd
assume
imagine,
that we're,
yeah.
we're sharing.
So you're poring over this ledger information, and between Kyoko and Gabriel, you're able to take a look at all of the different entries and say, okay, that's a known alchemist in the city. Never heard of that person before, and you sort of make mental notes about all of these. You do find, however, one that stands out as particularly noteworthy. Apparently, an alchemist, or at least so it says on the ledger,
Is not state sanctioned.
No license.
by the name of Cranes,
Like CRANES?
Craines.
Okay.
Yeah. Purchased a substantial quantity, several units worth of Hylian.
Okay.
Apparently paid in gold up front, which is not unusual, but there are options to sort of
Yours credit is
kind of a credit sort of thing, or put it on an invoice that will not be sent later. Or,
which is basically credit.
and it looks like that Akis had made what looks like a small doodle next to the ledger. He has drawn a sort of stereotypical
Poop emoji.
wizard's hat in this file of a sort of long, arcing, kind of pointed area with a long brim. And underneath is the sort of crude rendition of a goblin's face.
That must mean something.
Not crude in the sense of racist,
That's
but crude in
correct.
the sense of I'm clearly not an artist.
Lower quality drawing.
Yes.
Okay.
We need some more pixels.
Well, if our master thief happens to be an illusionist as well, perhaps he could look like any goblin he wants.
True. True so. Cranes.
So,
Good alias. No.
meanwhile, over
Yeah.
in Poxborough, Sandy, Karaka, and Leras are all walking the city streets, specifically you are heading towards the Half-Cocked, as you were wont to do. The place is a little less packed at the moment. Still scummy. still wafting with the smell of stout and sweaty
Other
workers.
things. Yeah. Unwashed.
The unwashed masses.
That's typical.
And
so
the-
you're out of melatonin.
And the two of you, Karaka and Sandy, are out on the streets within the block, taking a sort of discussing your next plans. Now that you've all gone to the half cod, she's gone inside, and now you're looking for your patrol spot.
Okay, so we're not all going into the half car?
Well, that's up to you.
We can. If you just want to stay there for a while.
Further split the party.
Zoe,
I was figuring
what do you have?
could stake out some of the brick maker factories, but
Go get ready for bed, please.
we could just stay at the tavern if you wish.
If she comes here often, then she'll come here on her own. If we're out looking around for her, we're probably not going to find her.
Karaka.
Or she'll run.
Pardon me, she'll run? I don't intend to do anything that would make her
No,
want to run.
if someone's following her, people's instincts are to run.
I don't.
Perhaps we go into the bar.
Yes.
Okay, we go into the bar.
Okay. I'm already in the bar. I'm at the bar at the getting an ale.
Okay.
It's a nice bartender.
It's never a nice bartender.
This one's not bad.
Ragram, the tubby dwarf.
Yeah, that's right. I remember him. He's not bad. Ragram,
Red rum.
do you many?
Not red rum.
Do you have a lot of brickmakers coming here after work?
I run a saloon in Hawkesbury.
I know that.
I see a lot of fucking workers.
Do any of them stand out? Real pretty ladies, like extraordinarily pretty.
So
Make me look like dog shit pretty.
it doesn't take much, love.
No.
That was a.
So we're going beyond Hawkesbury standards, are we?
Statue brought to life. Pretty. I'll just flip a gold coin on the counter. Oh, yeah.
Oh, oops. Dropped it.
Well,
Maybe 10, 15
I do
minutes.
seem to recall there was a lady was she's usually in some kind of gingham scarf. It's not unusual. A lot of the brick making ladies do that. It's easier to clean that way. She had something about her face. All the angles and all the right places, if you know what I mean.
I do.
She looked like a princess, and not a brick lady. She comes in here
Often?
regularly, yeah.
Around what time?
Doesn't drink much, has a small ale, keeps to herself. Seems like she's, I know this is ridiculous, but it seems like she's enjoying the atmosphere.
Let's make some
Always been good to
atmosphere.
me.
I don't know why, but yeah.
Alright.
Choosing her dinner.
I'll put another gold on the counter. Will you forget that I asked?
Who are you again?
Tom, so.
Good man.
Like him.
Of course you do. He's likable.
It's not bad.
Yeah, did you guys come up next to me or are you somewhere else?
Do you have a dwarf-sized ale or half-orc dwarf-sized ale?
Half orc.
Excuse me.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
A lot.
Could I get some
Lunch.
giant shrimp?
Do you just,
Jumbo, you know, like,
no, I can give you a big drink if that's what you want.
please.
For you.
No. I just immediately walked away.
Puts a big tankard down on the bar, filled to the brim with a dark ale. Oh, that's probably jumbo enough for you. What about for your friend?
Just an ordinary glass of ale. Really is all I need.
Oh, there you go.
Leon.
That's plenty, thank you.
I'll put down the money for free.
Tom.
Come here.
Okay, so a lot of you
Tug a
are
forelock and head back to bother her.
soaking up the ambiance of the
At a
I imagine it moves a bit like this.
Investigation.
They
was
sit
never
down,
better.
I get up and go somewhere else. They sit down, I get up and go somewhere else.
No, I'd probably just sit down and one. I wouldn't fall. I'd just like find a table. And just,
You
like,
just take up
sit
the
down.
entire table. It's just yours now.
It's your bench.
Just for my glass.
No, I will settle down somewhere where like I can't be seen readily, and yeah,
I'm in the
sit
center.
with you guys.
I'm definitely in the center of the room.
Well, then you're gonna miss the important conversation because I'm hiding in the back corner.
We should hide. We shouldn't be. Yeah. Well, I guess I was going to say we
Hide in
should be
plain sight.
unobtrusive, but never
But
mind.
I can't
Too late.
be. If I'm in plain sight, then I am being unintrusive. You just gloss over the
tell you
half
what.
orc in the center of the room.
Of course.
We'll sit over there.
The
And
best
you
place to hide a
obtrude.
barfly.
Yes.
is the
True.
bar.
There you go.
And
Yeah.
everybody looks at me while they.
You're acting as
ignore you.
camouflage from
Yes.
everyone else.
Yes.
All
right.
right,
Distraction.
that's fair.
Yeah.
No, okay,
Active
all right, okay.
Yeah.
I will relay what the bartender has told me. That sounds like Jessa to me.
Mm-hmm. Just keeps to herself.
I
Now-
said so.
Didn't
Our
Lady
employer,
Straub
our
say that she...
employer.
Mm-hmm.
You meant to say our employer, right?
Our employer. Didn't she say that she comes and visits her here?
Yes, so it's of course while she's waiting for her to show up. She hasn't come. So,
But your barkeep didn't say anything about her ever meeting anyone. Says she keeps to herself.
mostly keeps to herself. They don't always meet here either.
Right.
What I propose is perhaps one or two of us stays here and keeps a lookout for Jessa, and then perhaps the other one or two of us go and see if we can find where she lives. It's a bit suspicious that she never let our employer see where she lives.
It's everything about her is suspicious.
Yes, but that's the most suspicious.
Yes. I don't like it.
So, would you like to stay with our orc friend? Or are you going to come with me? Just, what the fuck are you doing over there, man? Making me nervous.
Just
We're going to come
imagine
back
it's-
and you're like preaching to everyone on top of the bar.
Vote for me as boss of this ironworks. Because that's how business works.
Unionize.
Yeah,
You're gonna lead the very first communist
higher
revolution,
salaries.
the workers, the proletariat revolution.
Full dental for everyone.
What's a dental?
You've all got rotten teeth.
I've already thought about things
From all
like
the rum?
we need eye protection, hard hats, work safety.
A hard what?
Yeah.
It's like a helmet,
So you
but
created.
less weighty.
So you're gonna create OSHA, the Orc Safety and Health Administration.
I'd vote for him. Hey.
Nice.
He says it like it is.
Yeah, I know. Oh god.
See, my first idea was first
Just
get
made
enough
my
money
stomach do a little twist.
to fund the workers if they are going to strike. That's what this job is about. Making money.
sick.
So
They need pay.
So what? So a lot of you are just sort of you're all sitting in the half-cock. Are you just sort of waiting to see if?
Well, she was going to go and see if she could find
I'm going to be
Jessa's
exiting the
house.
half-cocked here in a moment.
Wait.
I was seeing if he wanted to
Okay.
come with me or not.
Well, let's just talk a little bit. When
Alright.
she comes,
Paid.
what is the plan?
Observe.
Just watch. We're not going to approach her and
For
say,
the, until an opportune time arises.
at what point do we tell her why we're here?
When she's alone, when she doesn't look like she's going to shoot us, and when we're unobserved.
If everything's on the up and up, which it's not.
Sure.
But if everything's on the up and up, then when we tell her why we're here, she should want to come with us.
Yes.
Her shooting us won't be a concern.
Sure. I meant more that she looks at us and we look a bit dodgy, so she tries to shoot us more than that kind of thing.
Surely we don't look that bad. Shoot on sight bad.
You don't know what I do for a living, do you?
It's the paparazzi. Get him.
I think we could
She
play
made
that.
my favorite
I
noble
think
look bad.
we could play that bit by ear if you are suspiciously inclined, which you appear to be. Rightly so. I deal with suspicions as they pop up.
So you think
With
we
the
should
gun.
watch her?
At least for a little bit, yes. We don't want to approach in a crowd of like 50 people and say, "Oi, come with us."
Come here often.
I don't think she'd take kindly to being hit on either.
We'll watch.
All right. First, let's see if we can find a house. Now I could do that alone if you wish, or you can come with me.
Just leave the half-orc here.
There's a
Trouble
there's a
is.
sudden thudding noise
Okay.
as the doors to the saloon burst
Burst
open.
open.
Yes.
Staggering in,
Of course.
you can see a three creen.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
A tall
I thought I wanted it to be
insect-like, as you know, creature dressed in what looks like
human. Wanted some sunshine.
just a step above rags.
Okay.
He appears to be sort of swaying awkwardly. The three creen immediately the saloon kind of goes silent, and they're all looking at this spectacle. This tall, orange-shaded three creen stumbles towards the bar and begins making what sounds like, to your ears, staccato clicking noises at Ragram.
I thought I spoke.
Do
to
they
the
speak
crane.
regular language as well, or do they only speak?
Some of them do.
I thought I
on
spoke
a
to the crane, but I don't
person-by-person
see it
basis.
here. I thought I got that as
It's like a
language. Maybe not.
Chewy kind of situation.
A number of people know how to speak, but not everyone.
I don't recall if you did or not. So
Yeah, I don't. I didn't.
I
write
don't
it
have it
down.
listed, so
Yeah, I guess I
I
don't.
speak Dwarvish and Elvish. Common. It's not on the list of like common languages that
No.
we could take.
No, I remember
So-
talking about it earlier, but I think I must not have taken it because I didn't write it anywhere. Okay, never mind. Darn.
What is Ragram's?
Ragram is sort of. Oh, you stop, you crunchy bastard! Will you shut? Just give me a minute. All right.
Translator book.
Now, stop. You're gonna have to talk slower. Who now? Marsa. What about him? What you mean? What you mean taken? You're being ridiculous. Have you been drinking again? Somewhere else, might I add? No, it's ridiculous. No, stop. Don't get agitated. You're going to scare everybody away. Here. He slides this out. Take that. Drink it down.
You
And
need a
try-
seat.
And try the story again. Huh?
Just show him the menu.
You see that the three
Please.
crane sort of like awkwardly basically sits on a bar stool and immediately downs the glass of ale. You can see. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I understand. You don't like it, you can go somewhere else. But that's free, I'd like to remind you. Sorry, folks. Not a problem here. Go back to your drinks and your meals. My friend here has got a bit agitated after work. You know how it is. Labour's rough.
I'll down the rest of my ale and just kind of mosey my
If
way
only
up
it were better.
nearby.
I just imagine you're sitting like
Walk by you and
back
go,
to the
"Don't
situation.
stop."
Your ears are like.
I was just about to say it. Like, I was just about to say that.
The radar ears.
Ears cock over in the right direction.
If only furry things weren't so adorable.
What are you talking about?
Why? if only they weren't. Well,
I know, Steven's like, what do you mean? That's
What do
the
you
point!
Well,
I will meander up by
yeah,
Ragram.
definitely
I will
want to
just sit
eavesdrop on
and-
this.
Okay.
Just sit and wait.
What you need?
Just take me for a refill. It's alright. I'll wait. This looks very important to
Hey,
you.
no, don't worry about him. He's fine. I just needed a minute to
Is everything all right?
relax, isn't that right? This bastard thinks he's seen So there's a medical clinic in Poxborough. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's run by a fella named Mercer.
Yeah.
Mercer is what do you call that? He's a priest, right?
Yeah.
Ilmater, I think. He runs a sort of a free clinic for people around here, just in case they get injured on the job
Sure.
or they're sick and they can't afford to go to one of those people in another district, or one of the higher end people in Poxborough.
Not exactly high quality.
No. But Marcel does a good job, he's a good man. And our orange friend here says that Marcel was taken.
By who?
He doesn't know. Just said that he went over there because he was feeling a wee bit
Drunk?
late. He goes over there to the shanty where Marcel works, finds the place is a mess, and he's missing.
Who'd want to take a priest out of a...
That's my question, I don't know.
Huh.
Someone who hates those helping the poor.
Most people in Poxborough are the poor, so I don't see why that would be a difficulty.
Or why any affluent person would bother to come in
I haven't a
and
clue.
take a priest.
It sounds ridiculous to me. It sounds like our friend there is perhaps a little sick, maybe more than a little wasted.
I don't know. I've heard of some priests causing a ruckus with their ideas.
I'm
It's-
sorry, that's
A little
unfortunate.
self-referential there.
Take my refill and put another gold on the counter. I mean,
Gold.
Thank you, lass.
I'm not always going to pay you this
We,
way.
we should help this man. If he's helping out this district, he is not a bad person.
Walk by you and quietly say one thing at a time.
You see the third crane is now nursing a second drink and has sort of become kind of reserved, sort of drawn in on himself.
We'll multitask.
Do you know this clinic is?
Probably. I know where the clinic is.
Are you familiar with it? Yeah, yeah.
It's been there long
It
enough.
was established in the last few years.
It's
Mercer's been
For
working
her
there.
around town
That
and save
that clinic's
the
been operating
priest.
for about 4 or 5 years now.
Okay.
So.
How close by is it?
It's within walking distance.
And within scuttling distance. For this three
I mean,
cranes.
it's a bit of a walk. You're talking about maybe
Right.
15 minutes. But
I think I'd rather focus on Jessa and hit this up later. Perhaps if we don't find Jessa tonight, then we could look into it.
At what time she normally comes.
I know that the shift is over.
When's that? I just asked the dwarf behind the counter. What's his name again?
Ragrum.
Ragrum.
Rag on the dwarf, yeah.
Yeah. Do you know when the brick factory shift ends?
Well, they're not in sync with each other, unfortunately. Wouldn't that be easy? But the brickmakers tend to get out about 9. So we're looking at about 3 hours from now.
That was going to be a button on their own wait. Perhaps we'll go and make sure everything's alright with Martha.
A friend to stay here, keep an eye out.
This man is a fellow man of the cloth.
You're just like, well, if I have to stay here, I guess. Pouring
The thing is,
Plus, would you want me to be the one to find? Yes. See? See?
We observe, we don't talk.
Yes. See?
Which
Then
means
you
you-
wouldn't want me to be here. Infallible logic.
She tosses back the rest of her ale.
Do you need a refill? You could just stick your glass.
when is our timer going to go off?
Before the brickmakers get out.
Right. Off to Martha.
Right? But
Which sounds disarmingly like MRSA.
We all win.
Well, because of Ragram's thick accent, his name is Mercer.
Oh, okay.
Mercer.
Mercer.
Makes more
Ah,
sense.
okay. I see.
Not Portland. Seattle.
Mercer Island. Yes, it's the neighborhood of Seattle.
Or Matt.
Yes, I used to have to drive over Mercer Island to get to work in Bellevue every day.
Still think Matt Mercer looks like a young you. Anyway.
No. See that? Yeah. Believe me, no. Yeah.
Not even without the beard.
You haven't seen young Jason, but anyway.
I've seen lots of photos.
With the long
It's
hair?
on Facebook.
No, I think it totally looks like Matt Mercer.
We're going straight into the plot here.
You hate it when I talk about you.
Yes.
Sorry.
Let's move on.
Yes, sir.
So, the lot of you are going to walk the 15 minutes down to where the
Don't see why
the
not.
clinic is. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
right nearby.
So,
Clink, clink, clink.
15 minutes pass of you walking through the dingy cobblestone streets of Poxborough, and you come upon, sure enough, this wide, squat, rickety-looking building. It's made out of discarded lumber, steel framing, leather tarp. It definitely looks like its namesake. People around here refer to it as Ilmater's Shanty,
Okay.
being that Father Mercer is a priest of Ilmater, and he does this sort of medical work in Ilmater's name and stuff. Outside, you can see that there are one or two souls making their way across the street along the sidewalks, but otherwise it seems like a pretty quiet, empty part of the district.
Okay.
Doesn't seem to be any activity going on inside the shanty.
All right. Does it look devastated, or is it hard to tell because it's a shanty?
From the outside, it looks much as you'd seen it before. I mean, it's clearly a ramshackle building. The interior, from the glimpses that you've gotten of it from walking by periodically, was considerably more sort of tidy, but you'd have to go inside to see if there's anything amiss.
Nothing's stopping us. Off we
I'm
go.
gonna pat you on the back. What do your eyes see? And give you guidance. So add a D4 to your next
Do my next skill check. Awesome.
ability check. Of trust.
Thank you. Ability check or skill check?
Ability check.
Oh,
Which is
a
technically
skill check.
Counts as,
Ability
yeah,
check.
skill
Right.
check counts.
Okay. Awesome. All right, so we go in.
Okay. So you head inside, and the place is, as the Three Korean was describing to Ragram, a mess. There are all manner of there are chairs toppled over with legs broken off, tables that have been tipped over with all manner of sort of shards of glass and various sort of healing salves and tonics sort of oozing out onto the floor. It looks like a tornado came through.
Any people? I'm assuming you would have told us if there are
No one inside
Are there?
that you can see.
Is it just a one-room affair? Is there any? place else?
It's one large sort of initial room, and then there are two rooms on either side, acting as kind of quote unquote private rooms.
Okay. Well, we should check those out too.
And there are no doors. This is all sort of open area stuff. It's almost more like maybe like a medical tent during wartime than it is a hospital or a doctor's office.
I'll get up my camera and start taking some pictures.
We're gonna check out through those doors. The two more private rooms.
Okay.
Anything in there?
Light is perfect.
I know, right? So, well, it's a 21.
So you're making it
I
which
guess,
left or right
perception,
first?
but-
Right.
Right.
Okay, so you make your way into the right-hand private room, and this looks like where Father Mercer actually lived,
Okay.
like where he stayed inside the shanty, because there is a small bed that has been the mattress itself has been sort of scorn, and there's bits of fluff and fabric everywhere. There's an overturned side table. Documents have been scattered all over the floor, and you can see that it is in a similar state as the initial room.
Okay.
What did you do?
I was just taking photos, which I think you said is a perception check.
No, just if you're just taking
Oh, okay.
photos, that's fine.
Well, while I take photos, I will also be checking to see if there's anything like. I know everything looks out of place.
In this
right
case,
now,
we'd be investigation
but,
because you're really on the
okay,
scene taking a look.
17.
I'm about to make an investigation roll too, and I've got a bonus.
Well, feel free.
I just wanted to make sure
It's
I'd
just
seen
a-
all the rooms before
that
I
would
did
just
that.
be-
And the left-hand room is much as you'd expected, kind of like a private room where there is a kind of medical bed and a series of surgical accoutrements and so on. But these two have been broken and scattered about the room.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make that investigation check. What was the bonus?
D4.
A D4.
So you roll your d20 and do your investigation, and then add a d4 on top of that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So my investigation roll is at a +5, so this is 17 plus 2, 19.
19. Okay. So, with a 19, where specifically are you looking? Are you doing a general sweep, or are you targeting one specific room?
Aww. Well,
It's up to you. I just want to know.
Well, my intention in opening up all the rooms was obviously to do a general sweep.
Do a whole
I guess.
sweep? Okay.
Yeah, I guess I have to stick to that.
So you
That's
see,
what
with a 19, you see periodically, amidst the trash and debris, you see what looks like there's a kind of a grayish, blackish substance on the ground periodically in small piles. You pick it up, you feel it, you smell it. That's ash.
Like human ash?
Like vampire ash.
It's hard to tell at this point.
Follow it.
Little piles of ash?
Yeah, little about say the size of a pinch
Dusting.
essentially.
Oh.
Here and there.
Like
Seasonings
dusting of ash here and there.
Yes.
Can you kind of follow it?
Yeah. I'm going to see if it forms a trail.
It doesn't appear to. It seems to be sort of spread out in what seem to be random places throughout the three rooms.
Maybe where they stopped or something.
Piles of ash?
Just
Yeah. That poster, he's got a cigar, doesn't he?
It's a good connection.
Any familiar smells?
Smells burnt to you.
Yeah, well, but beyond just the smell of ash. I mean, like
Is there like lingering
the
tobacco?
smell of Hylian or anything?
Not Hylian.
No.
There's the faint smell of what seems like standard grade tobacco. Yeah.
Okay.
Some kind of,
Cigar
smokable.
smell.
Yes.
How long ago was this done?
Cigarette.
Any way of telling?
Cigarette.
Given the state of
Are
the room
broken
and
vials
the lack
still
of.
lit?
Okay, so you want to go over and so you take a
Yeah.
look. Yeah, this was done in the last hour or so. You'd reckon.
Okay.
Because the stuff is still wet. It hasn't dried, nor has it sort of congealed in a way or sort of become thick. It's clearly still puddles of this stuff.
Any sign of bodies being dragged around?
Struggle.
Not that you can see. This is clearly your investigation did reveal that this isn't just random destruction. This appears to
They were looking for something.
partially it's destruction and partially it's struggle and chaos.
Okay.
Medical histories.
Place like this.
In fact, you said you had 19. Is that right? To your eye, this looks like if the Three Creens story checks out, which is that Mercer was taken from the shanty. It looks to your eye, you have a strong suspicion that there was clearly a struggle. If this checks out, there was clearly a struggle. Mercer was taken, and then maybe the rest of the place was wrecked to make it look as if it were vandalism or robbery or something of that nature. Because there are places where the wreckage is sort of consistent, the disarray is consistent with a struggle, a knocked over chair, a shattered glass here and there, and then other places where it seems just like random destruction. Like, why would this particular cabinet be smashed, or so on and so forth?
Light broken.
Yeah.
Okay. Surely someone saw this. I mean,
Well, the Three Queens certainly did.
well, he saw the aftermath.
And
right?
the aftermath, yes.
And him being taken away.
What's
Apparently.
around the perimeter? Is there a place that we could look for tracks?
Thank you.
The perimeter is. Are you talking about around the shanty?
Yeah.
It's pretty cramped inside the rest of the block of buildings.
Okay.
It was clearly an abandoned lot that the shanty was sort of constructed out of community materials. The immediate surroundings are cobblestone streets and concrete. It would be difficult to do any kind of substantial tracking, especially given the foot traffic in Poxborough.
Okay. All right. Well, I have this
Can't just
ability
give me a
that I
finger.
forgot that I could do. Whenever we're in the city, my party, a party that I'm leading, can move at double the normal movement rate.
What?
Yes.
Holy moly.
So
Just for like out of combat or
probably
travel.
just
I can take my party through the city at double the movement rate.
Yeah, that's probably
So
like
when we're
part-
traveling,
That's awesome.
so let's go back and see if we can catch that Tharkreen and get an account of what happened. You
Okay.
think?
Sure.
Okay. So it took us 15 minutes to get here because I didn't remember that I had this ability. But now
7.5.
it's 7.5 minutes. Right. Yeah, back streets and dark alleys. Yeah.
Okay, so you rush back to the half-cocked, and you see that people are starting to file out of the place, which is unusual because it's early days. Yeah, I mean, the place doesn't close.
Not even like
I
what,
didn't do
7?
Yeah, it's barely 7 o'clock.
I didn't start him off. You saw me. I was with you.
So
You can't possibly.
you quickly
Concerns about
you quickly make your way inside, and you can see that the place, sure enough, is emptying out at a rapid pace.
Just saying it's not my
You can
fault.
see.
Ask someone who's coming out while everyone is leaving.
So you catch a person by the arm, and they say, "Come on, we gotta get out of here." Those religious crazies came in here and took a guy.
Not me.
You gotta get out of here. They might come back.
Which religious
Who did they take?
The sunstroke people.
Who did they
Oh.
take?
The
Insectoid man.
yes, that guy, the orange guy.
Which way?
It looked like they were going south down that street. But
And I'll just head inside and talk to Ragram.
Okay.
so Ragram's there with his hands and his head in his hands.
Are you alright?
I'm fine.
Who was it?
I don't know. I didn't recognise any of them. They all had that garb that they wear. They've got these ridiculous robes.
Sunstroke.
Hey, and they said this much. They weren't hiding it. They were there. They crowded around our orange bug friend. They said he didn't belong here.
I sucked down a
He
shard
wasn't-
of the.
he was an aberration.
Understand
They took him
Wash that down.
by force. The Three Crane, he tried to fight, but he was clearly not in a condition to take on 5 or 6 of them at a time. They dragged him out of there. Last I heard, they were thinking about hanging him.
Do you know where they took him?
I just know it looked like they were headed south down the street.
Right.
Did
South
they say
down the
when
street.
they would hang?
Let's just run.
Yeah, I gotta
I'm
get
saying, do we wait for our friends to
I
arrive
gotta witness
first?
this.
Do we have time for that?
All right, look, boys, we're going to take this man and we're going to hang him in about, say, 35 minutes. No, I've got a thing going on. Can we do 45?
Hey, how likely is it
That's
I know?
my daughter's birthday. I can't do that today. Can we do it tomorrow?
How likely is it that I know?
You said we'd be done by 9.
There aren't. Judging from what
Have
Ragram
work
told you,
tomorrow.
The PTA
it
of
seems
cults.
like It seemed like a spontaneous thing.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I just didn't
it's
know if
gonna
I knew
happen.
the most popular areas to do it because of the.
No, they don't tend to.
Pick just one. I mean,
This is our hanging
they're-
spot.
Hey, they're pretentious enough. They might have one.
Not in this case.
True.
Fuck.
Okay, I just grab my friend by the pauldron, spin him around, and drag him out the door.
Let's go.
Come on.
What?
You
You,
can
you
move
don't have
it.
to
We
spend
can move
me.
it
I was
double
just.
speed, right?
What's that?
We can move it double.
We can
speed.
move it double speed through the city.
Let's
Head
go.
south and just see if we see anything that tells us whether or not we're going in the right direction.
Looking for crowds riling up.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
so
Angry mobs.
you make your way through
people
the streets, pushing by
Yes.
the occasional
Don't wanna be associated.
I'm looking
passerby. You see
the
some people
ropes.
looking distressed. Back in the opposite direction, you can see some people very, very hurriedly with their coats up and their hoods on, looking down, and they're making their way, clearly fleeing from somewhere farther down the street.
Okay.
You make your way double time, and you see at a nearby lamppost at the corner of a street, where a Gatralt powered light, a single Gatralt powered light, is there. Clearly, a gesture by the Marasma government at here we've modernized the street corner. You
It's
can
all
see
for you.
actively hanging from what looks like a high tensile wire is the orange 3 cream that you saw at the bar. He is dangling. His limbs are jerking about, and you can see 6 robed figures around him just watching this.
Okay, can I make a quick... I want to make a quick medical medicine check to see if is this
He's still
Cream
alive?
dead and he's just jerking, or...
Can we roll for fortune before we go any further?
No.
Come on, please.
I've forgotten it.
Give me a medicine check.
Okay. 12. Is it enough to know if someone's dead or alive?
Yes, he's alive, but not for very long.
Okay, so he needs to be rescued. Stat. All right.
And you'll do that next time.
No.
No!
No, it's only 9:26.
Why? I have the Star Wars game in the afternoon tomorrow. So carefully.
What?
But no.
But
We were just about to...
yeah.
Guns
I
a-blazing!
was gonna shoot the rope and everything.
I had the same plan. We were gonna...
We were both gonna do the thing.
Oh man.
That cliffhanger.
You gotta hang on the cliff.
CC.
Cliffhanging.
Was the 3 Queens name Cliff?
You'd think
No.
you were the orcs
It's not a cliffhanger.
trying to fight immediately.
I mean, you're the one who has to live with Rachel for a week.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
Now,
Didn't fucking think about that one, did you?
now, next time, please remind me ahead of time to roll for fortune because it seems like you guys are going to get into a fight pretty soon. So, I'm sorry, I keep forgetting.
It was understandable last week. But
Seriously, you have to live with me.
I know.
See how cutely she's imploring?
We're
doesn't care.
literally
Or-
watching you go through the 5
You're
steps
one
of
of those
denial.
5 stages of grief,
Yeah.
Stages.
bargaining, acceptance.
Unfortunately, me looking cute has no effect on him. Which seems really unfair because I'm married to him.
You'd think you'd get at least that much.
Right?
Yeah.
No. Nothing.
attack appeared in.
So a title for this. Do you have one, or should we suggest?
What was the title for the last one?
Dangling man.
Their cream enters the bar.
The Lost Art of Keeping a Secret.
This would just be Lost Art of Keeping a Secret Part 2, basically. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I only have broad names for the total adventures, right? Not the individual episodes.
Or how
Just
Jason
however long.
disappointed everyone at the table by ending the game an hour and a half earlier than it's supposed to be.
We normally do it on Monday nights, but I have a rehearsal thing on Monday, so I had to move it to Saturday, which is tomorrow. So I have to prepare ahead of
A
time.
rehearsal thing on Monday?
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Kate Walker's doing that murder mystery thing.
Okay.
We're rehearsing for that. That's supposed to open on the 25th of October.
Cool.
So
Oh, does Trey know you turned on the part?
I did get a call from Bill about playing Actor 1,
Uh-huh.
but I refused.
No! I've been wanting to be on stage with you ever since I first saw you on stage.
I know.
And this was going to be my chance.
Are you?
I'm Watson.
I
Oh,
figured
you're
you would be.
Watson, are you?
Cool, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
You're gonna be awesome as Watson.
Now I'll
It'd
tell
be
you.
more awesome if I had Jason to play off of.
I'll tell you exactly why.
Okay.
Hold on, let me just turn this up.